It's a very, very, very classic thriller, told in a very unconventional way. The classic part is that it's about a dad whose daughter goes missing and he tries to find her, and the unconventional part is that the whole movie takes place on his daughter's laptop screen as he breaks into her computer to look for clues to find her. So hopefully it feels like something you've seen before in a way that you have never ever seen before. Yeah, I mean, that was the challenge. I think what we look at every single day, our phone screens, our laptop screens, our computer screens, aren't necessarily cinematic and not something that we go, oh yeah, a movie should take place on here, which was our big hesitation about doing this at all. But what we decided early on was that the only way we would ever make this movie is if we somehow found a way to turn every one of those mundane, cold devices into a cinematic canvas, because that has never been done before. The way we're using the camera, I think, has never been done before. The way we're telling the story on screens has never been done before. I think it'll surprise a lot of people that there's a lot more emotional and narrative weight to these screens than we make them out to have. We made this movie with 5 people in a tiny edit room for the course of 2 years. I quit my job at Google, moved from New York to LA, lived on savings, ran out of savings, to make a movie on a dream, not knowing anybody would ever see this movie, hoping that maybe 5 other people would see this movie one day. So to have that reception at Sundance, and let alone to have this and the movie coming out, and the movie coming out worldwide, it's all been A, the best 6 months of my life, and B, the coolest thing in the world, and the absolute fulfillment of a dream that I've had since I was this tall. So it's been awesome. I think our goal was, in order for this movie to succeed, you have to forget that the way it's being told. Ultimately, at the end of the day, this is a thriller, it's a mystery, it's full of twists and turns, and hopefully by the end of the film, you just realize, oh my gosh, that was all on computer screens. And I think that marriage, a very classic story, and a very, very, very weird way of telling that story, would be hopefully a very fresh and magical movie-going experience.
Searching is a traditional suspense thriller that is told in a way that has never been utilized before in filmmaking, and it's told all through the devices that we live on all day. So it's our phone and our computer and FaceTime, and it's about a father whose 15-year-old daughter goes missing, and he breaks into her computer to try and find out what happened to her. And I play the missing persons detective who helps him try and find her. The suspense was on the page from the beginning, and I think that's what was most exciting about it, is that if you strip it all away, it really is a traditional suspense thriller. Really, I just keyed into the fact that she was a single mom and of a son, and I'm a single mom of a son, and the whole idea of a child going missing is really a parent's worst nightmare. And so I think that really is the thing that drove both of our characters. They will have a fun time because of the way it's shot. It's visually really exciting to watch. I think that they will be really entertained by the suspense and the twists and turns of the story, and hopefully they'll enjoy the actors that are doing the acting on screen.
I texted Aneesh after I saw the movie for the first time, and that I've said, you have made a contribution to the vocabulary of cinema. That's very, very difficult to do. All the tricks are out of the bag at this point, but it's a really ingenious attempt to dramatize what's happening in real life right now, which is that more and more of us are communicating through our devices. And so how do you, as a storyteller, depict that? And Aneesh went inside the computers, inside the tablets, and yet it feels like a movie. It feels like a thriller. Kudos. I'm just glad I was there. Well, we're all, last time I checked, we're all members of a family, and even though we may not be parents, we're all children, and there's something elemental about that bond. It's really easy to relate to. It was for me, being a dad. Past that, I think, this is it's a movie, but I like to call it a page turner. This is just how is this going to turn out? And there's so many twists and turns in it. We wanted to keep that emotional through line there and keep them guessing at the same time, so I hope it worked. I think it's pushing on a lot of fronts. We've got, it's saying something about the time that we live in. It's making a contribution to what I think is a really classic genre. And also, I can't look past the visual of the family that it depicts, and they're Korean American. They're specifically Korean American, but it doesn't have any bearing on the plot or the story. So on a lot of things, on a lot of fronts, it's doing something new and bold, and for people to respond to it, it's very, very gratifying. Listen, this is a good, rock'em sock'em time. It's going to be a fun night out. With a compelling story, and we hope to keep you guessing. And it's a great. What I love about the device thing too is like we have all these big feelings when we're putting them into our little devices, and our movie takes it and goes, "Oh no, what you're feeling is big. Look at it on the big screen." And then also, especially with the thriller genre, it's something that I think works best with a crowd. And to be in these screenings and to hear the gasps and the hoots and the hollers and the oh my gods, I think that's how you want to see movies. He brings such ingenuity and energy and intelligence. I don't know who else could have pulled it off, and I sensed that, and I didn't want to do the project until I sat down with him and thought, because I did think that this was a problem, that this little puzzle, I didn't know whether I wanted to get involved with it, but he's so ingenious and so charismatic. I said yes, and I'm glad I did, because I saw him work through this Rubik's Cube, and it was a doozy. And the work he put into it after we finished photography, almost 2 years editing. I say editing because they had to create all these worlds after we finished shooting. It's a staggering work.
I think it's on the wave of so much that's happening right now. So, societally, it's relevant, it's culturally relevant. And, aside of all those nuances, it's just a great film. And I think anyone that goes to watch this movie, they're going to be reminded of why they go to the movies in the first place. Yeah, I play Peter Kim. I play Margot's uncle and John Cho's little brother. And so I guess career structural-wise, I'm kind of like the less structured one, I guess, in the family. And so it was an interesting part to play, and for Aneesh to establish his family before we even started shooting and all the technical stuff that was involved. He really just wanted to get the relationships down and just that dynamic down. And so I remember before we even shot, didn't really talk about what was going to happen on set. And then once we showed up, at least for me, it was a little overwhelming at first, but it came out fantastic. So I'm very excited about it. Well, I mean, I was on my phone like 2 minutes ago. So it's literally just that. I mean, it draws you in just from everything that we deal with on a daily basis. And so immediately, there is no work for the audience to really get involved in this movie. They're into it from the beginning. Drop all assumptions. Just come in clear-headed, and then you're going to walk away, and you're going to be blown away. So yeah.
It's good storytelling. It's good writing. It's good directing, and if you start watching it, you're in for the ride. That's all I can say. I play Margot Kim, who is the missing daughter of David Kim, played by John Cho. And Margot is just a typical teenage American girl who has her struggles, has her challenges, and is learning to navigate friends, school, and she falls into some trouble after a deep tragedy in her life. I think it just contributes to the language of cinematography. You watch it and you haven't seen anything like it, and that's cool. As millennials, experience seekers, we're always looking for something new and innovative, and this movie is that. It's surreal, and I have nothing but gratitude. It's amazing to be able to be a part of something this big.
I think it's a fantastic family movie. It's about the love between a father and his daughter, and I think what I love, my favorite thing about the movie is just like the dynamics of the family and the sacrifice that you see of the dad. Of course, it goes through this crazy hole through the internet, but I think that just shows, really it's a showcase of his love for her. When you watch this movie, you're going to be at the edge of your chair, just waiting to see what's happening next, because Aneesh just makes you go through so many ups and downs. The movie is fantastic. It was such an honor to be in this movie because Aneesh, as a not necessarily a first-time director, but kind of first-time directing a film in this capacity, he was very open to with dialogue with the actors, so that always makes a scene a little meatier, and there's, you know, when you're open with the communication. So for me, it was so much fun just building Pam, who's the wife to John Cho's character and the mother to Margot. And I think Aneesh was really wonderful in letting us sort of do our thing and was very specific in the direction he wanted, but then after that he just kind of let us do our thing, yeah. It's crazy! I mean, look at all these people here tonight. It's really fun, and we're very excited for everyone to watch it. I think everyone will love it.
I would say it's a very conventional thriller that we told in a very unconventional way. The conventional part is that it's a father looking for his missing daughter, and the way he goes about finding her is by breaking into her laptop computer to try to find clues. The unconventional part is that we decided to tell it entirely on screens, so it's like the devices we use in our everyday lives. Laptops, it's FaceTime, it's iMessage, and this guy wrote it, and he's responsible for giving us that amazing challenge of telling it on screens.
It's a story, as we said, about a father searching for his missing daughter, but what's interesting about our film and what we try to say with it is within a few days of trying to find his daughter, he realizes he didn't lose her days ago. He lost her years ago. And he only really got to know his daughter in reality once he went through her laptop and went through her social media files. I think in reality, we are actually what we hide. I certainly wouldn't want anyone going through my laptop or my Facebook, so hopefully I never go missing, but yeah.
We're so excited. I mean, we always made this with the hope that it would be seen on big screens. It's a cinematic experience, and so to go from, you know, the way we made it with really, I mean, a whole crew of people, but there was 5 of us kind of locked in a room for a year and a half editing, and to have it in a theater, you know, like this, and have Sony behind it, it's incredible. It's all we like hoped for, honestly. Look, we live so much of our lives on screens, and there's so much nuance and emotion that goes into, you know, sending a text message or, you know, social media, and it just wouldn't be doing justice to the way we communicate and, you know, to 21st century life if we didn't imbue that into the cinematic language. And I take my hat off to Seven and Aneesh because they found a way to make it exactly that, cinematic, and that's not easy. And I'm honored to have worked with them on this and humbled.
We've had such an incredible journey. We made this movie with a couple of people. We premiered at, you know, Sundance, a great independent film festival. But since then, thanks to our friends at Sony, we've been able to travel around the world showing this film to audiences of all different creeds and beliefs and everything you can imagine. And nothing has ever beat the joy of us being in the back of the theater house, watching as audience members experience this film for the first time in a big screen theater. I'm not even kidding you, like people are gasping, people are talking at the screen, people are talking to each other. It is such a cool experience, and one that we can't wait for audiences all across America and the world to go see in theaters when it opens in theaters this week and next week. It's the best case scenario by far.